Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes.
When you do hands-on healing, do you know what the person needs healed?
You know, it's quite apparent to me, Paul. I can just look at somebody and see where they're blocked, where the problems are. And then I try to extract the tension and allow the energy to flow through them. And I've learned, you know, look, many years ago, million years ago, Rudy took my hands away. And he told me I'll be able to heal people. So they're not my hands that are working. It's really Nityananda's hands. You know, he kind of gave me Nityananda's hands that are doing that work. And the hands are healing instruments that transmit Shakti, healing energy. And you can just look at a person, you know, you do this long enough, you can just look at somebody and you see where they're congested inside, what has to be broken down, how the energy needs to flow through them. And that's what I do. It's also kind of being like a spiritual vacuum cleaner, you know, taking people's tension out of them, you know. And it's kind of an amazing thing. And I don't even understand it, you know, but I was given this gift by my teacher. I mean, I'll never forget. It's a great story. You know, there's this woman who used to come to him who had cancer, very serious cancer. And she would sit, please try and sit still. She would sit in the back of his store, in the back, and he would work with her. And then he asked me to go back and work with her. So I went and I started doing healing work with her. And it was, you know, I mean, it was a great education for me because I tried to take in all of that negative energy that was emanating from that tumor in her and bring it through my system and burn it up. And I just literally fainted at her feet. It was too strong. So I'll never forget, Rudy came back, he started schmuck, you know, what were you trying to do? He was smacking me, made me run around the block 3 times. And when I came back, he said, look, Stuart, he said, you know, don't ever do this again. You got to drop the tension. You got to get rid of the tension. But, you know, it's like getting, you know, a vaccination for like, you know, polio or something, you know. They give you the disease in order for you to get cured from the disease, you know, he said, you'll always be able to heal in your life. That's what happened to you just now. And then maybe a month later, he literally took my hands away. He did some operation on me that took my hands away. And over the years, you know, it wasn't that he did all this and oh, suddenly Stuart's a great healer. It took years of developing this, working with this. I mean, I don't know how many of you read that book I wrote called Leah, you know, but that really is about this, you know, what I'm talking about now. And it took years of building the strength, refining my instruments, not just saying, Rudy told me I'm a healer and I'm a healer, you know, and I'm going to go heal everybody. I had to really work on myself, working with people with AIDS, with cancer, with all kinds of problems. Like, used to come to me, especially when I had that loft on 4th Avenue. It was like a bakery. Take your number next for Stuart to sit and work on you. But I learned a great deal, and it took time. It took a lot of inner work. It took a lot of working with people. And then these retreat classes came out of that, you know, working with people in those classes. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
I have a question, Stuart. Sometimes after meditation, there's an energy burst. Other times there's almost an exhaustion or tired. Can you speak a little bit to that differences?
The energy burst and the energy tired.
Right, like feeling tired sometimes and other times feeling very energized.
Well, it depends on what pockets of energy you hit inside yourself. If you hit and get great openings inside, you're going to feel very energized after these classes. But sometimes these classes are like, I always, a metaphor, you take a cold chisel and try to drill a tunnel through a mountain. And you're going to be very tired after the class because it's a lot of work. One class isn't better than the other, because we need to learn how to work through the obstructions in ourselves. And that is tiring. It really is work. So that's really, and then sometimes you sit down and boy, the whole cosmos opens, and you feel just this rapturous with energy. And that also is part of it. And so that, every class is different. Every class is a different experience. But one class is not better than the other. Just because you have some great rapturous opening of cosmic energy, it doesn't make it better than learning how to truly dig that tunnel through yourself to get to where that rapturous energy is. Both of them are essential if you're going to really tap that incredible resource of energy that's in the human unconscious. So don't, if you have a class where you're tired, just go to sleep. Don't, don't beat yourself up because you're tired after class, I mean, you have a class that's rapture, don't talk about it. Keep the energy inside you. I mean it. Don't go and start sharing it with the world, It's incredible. How many people I used to, have come to me, oh, I had this great Kundalini experience when I was 20 years old. And it's 30 years later, and you look at them, they were half dead, because they were living for an experience, something that happened 30 years ago. It's got to be every day we work on ourselves and tap that kind of quantity and quality of energy inside us. And the unconscious is connected to the infinite. It's infinite energy. It only gets limited when we take it into our minds. Otherwise, it's just infinite energy in the universe that we as human beings have all the tools to tap. And it comes out in our work, it comes out in the people we're with the love that we can give to people, the compassion we have for the human race. It's all a manifestation of that energy. Does anyone else have a question?
Yes, Stuart.
Yes.
Referring back to the healing stuff you were just talking about, have you found over the years that the people you are healing, it's important that they do their work too?
Well, Tony, that's just an obvious answer. I mean, look, there were people that would come to me years ago. I mean, you can ask Chris, she used to work for me. My store was like a center for people coming to get healed, It was like nonstop there, people coming and working with them. And there were people that used to come and I would do this work with them. And then they would come again and it was the same thing and again. And finally I said, I can't do anything more for you. You're not doing work on yourself. You're coming here expecting me to be the one who's I am not an aspirin. I am not a pill that's going to heal you. I said, you have to do your work. And a lot of these people didn't want to do their work. They wanted to just come and get fixed, Stuart's going to fix them. Well, I said, you're here to learn how to fix yourself. I'm providing Shakti energy. I'm taking all that tension out of you so that you can learn how to fix yourself. It's like, you know, I don't want to give you the end of my book, Leah, but it's really what happened at the end of my book, Leah. You know, so yes, people have to do their work. Otherwise, you know, I mean, we think that somebody, you know, who's a healer is like some pill we take that cures us of everything. And they're not. They're there to guide you, to help you, to learn something very important, how to work on yourself. And ultimately, how to use your illness to have a spiritual life, because that is the real healing, not just getting better physically, you know? One day we all die from something, you know? I mean, I was reading this play, Twelfth Night by Shakespeare, and there's kind of a very funny character in there called Toby Belch. And one of the characters said, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a long time." And he said, "Yeah, it's been 3 months that I've been walking towards my grave." You know, what he was saying really is, I'm just getting older, getting closer to dying. And it's been 3 months since I've seen you that I've been walking. And this is how people live. And it cracked me up. It was so profound that I never heard anyone say anything like that. You know, Shakespeare, you know? Anyway, you got to learn how to do it. I am not here to do it for you. I am here to help you to learn how to do it for yourself. And that is my role in all of this. And if you want to be healed of any kind of illness that you have, it's all possible, but you got to learn. And the ultimate healing is truly to have a spiritual life. That is really, and I stopped doing it with a lot of people because I realized they weren't interested in a spiritual life. They were interested in getting better and going on with the same bullshit way they were living that brought the disease on in the first place. Yes, Tony, you gotta do.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Does anyone else have a question? So we don't want to walk towards our grave. You understand? We want to open to the cosmos. We want to get spiritually enlightened. We want to build a system inside that really moves us to the highest levels of consciousness. We want to use everything we learn to develop that kind of inner life. So it's not just being born and walking to the grave, which is how most people live, you know? It's really true. That's how they live. They're born and they go, they live and they die and they walk to the grave instead of using this precious time on the earth to truly get to God, to truly get to God. We're given this gift of life. And frankly, most people just shit all over it, you know? It's terrible what they do with it. Instead of using it and transforming ourselves so that every moment we're alive is sacred. And every step we take in our life takes us closer to a oneness with God and a oneness with higher energy in the universe. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? It came out of the mouth of Toby Belch. What a name. I loved it. Incredible name. Belched it out. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, there'll be meditation tomorrow evening. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. I hope you all make it. And, you know, as I told you, starting not tomorrow, but the following Monday, I'm going to take a week off. So there'll be class, you know, tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday and Sunday. So thank you. Bless you all. And bless you for giving me the opportunity to be in your lives and to, you know, transmit this thing I've learned in my life. I'm just very grateful to do this. So God bless you all. We'll have a meditation tomorrow evening.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
For a wonderful class.
Good night.
Stuart.
Good night.
Thank you, Stuart.